In today's episode, my guest is going to talk about a truly innovative platform designed to help individuals learn how to invest with confidence before ever needing to risk real money. So, if you are somebody who has always wondered about getting smarter about investing, this episode is for you. Grab a pen, your favorite notebook, and sit down for some quiet time because there's going to be a lot of notes in this one. Welcome to the Fox Talks Business Podcast. I'm your host, Tanya Fox, money mentor, business coach, and author. If you're a business owner who's been around the block but still feels stuck in the financial fog or hustling without getting real results, well, you're in the right place. Each week, I'm going to dive into money mastery, mindset shifts, and real-world strategies to help you grow and profit sustainably. You're going to hear unfiltered conversations, bold ideas, and practical, proven ways to start growing your business. So if you're ready to break past the plateau, make more, stress less, and have fun doing it, let's dive in. Hello, Foxy listeners. Welcome to the show. I am really excited for this one. You guys know that anything to deal with finances really riles me up. I get super excited about it. But one of my passions in 2026 has definitely been with a younger audience and how important financial literacy is. And when this guest came across my desk, I knew I absolutely had to have him on, and we absolutely had to shout his app from the rooftop. So we're going to get into all of the details about it. Deon, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today.
It is such a pleasure to be here.
So let's just dive because I want to spend as much time as I can digging into this. So, but give us a little bit of background on you first before we get into sort of the mechanics of the app first. What is your history? What is your story?
Okay, so my story is that I am a Southern boy, born and raised in Georgia, and I've always had an interest for both finance and technology. Ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to be like my two biggest heroes, which was Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark, because those are heroes who are multi-billionaires that save the world by using their intelligence and their capital. And also, it was the most realistic. I could never be Superman. I'm not going to get powered by the sun and fly. So I decided that I'm going to do what I can to emulate those heroes and be a real life version of them. Did not want to get as many degrees as they got. I think they have like 28 degrees total. That's way too much schooling. So I stopped at my master's in computer engineering, and of course I have a bachelor's in electrical engineering. And I wanted to figure out how do I implement the financial side because I wanted to be a business owner, and I made that happen. That's what I'm doing today. But I wanted to figure out what type of business would I have that could make an impact like I want to have on future generations and other people across the world. And learning how to incorporate technology with finance and help educate people on that was the way to go. So that's how Smart Investors was born.
So tell us a little bit about what your idea of the concept around this app is.
Okay, it's actually a very heartbreaking idea. This was inspired by a S&P Global Financial Literacy survey that I came across while making this app. And what that said was that only 33% of adults globally have basic financial literacy skill. Another educational survey I found, which is FINRA, Investor Education Foundation, in their survey, it said just looking at the United States alone, only of adults have basic financial literacy. And then the TIA Institute also released a survey, and this one focused mostly on young adults, so millennials and Gen Z. And what they found is that only 24% of them total can answer basic financial literacy questions. And the key word in all of this is basic. So you're probably wondering, what does basic mean? Well, they was asking questions like, if your salary were to increase by 3%, but inflation is now 4%, does your purchasing power increase, remain the same, or decrease? And only 33% of adults globally could answer that. Only 50% of adults in the United States could answer that, and only 24% of Gen Z and millennials could answer questions like that. Now, if your understanding of linear time is the same as mine, these are going to be people who are going to be in charge of making decisions for our companies and for our nation. So, seeing all of that, and seeing as I have an interest in financial literacy and I also have a engineering degree, I decided why not create an app that can drastically improve these terribly low financial literacy rate scores. And investing is definitely the best way to do it because investing is a one-stop shop for anything financial. Whether you want to be an entrepreneur, which we're going to talk about later, or just improve your personal financing, investing is the best way to do it because it exposes you to everything and it gives you that hands-on experience where you're actually implementing the concepts that you're learning. So that's how smart investors were created. We want to improve the financial literacy rate of people and in the long run make them smarter investors.
So, what do you find right now? Like, because I think there's a lot of people out there who want to, but there's all these barriers that they feel are around them. So for you, what do you see that comes up as the biggest barriers for, new investors or people wanting to, having that idea of going, yeah, I should be doing this, but what follows the but?
Oh, so when you say barriers, are you saying barriers to learning how to invest and getting into investing?
Either or.
Okay. So, oh, it's so many barriers. It's hard to pick just the biggest one. So I'm going to give you a list of what I would say the top barriers are. And number one is definitely the misconception that investing and gambling are the same thing. They are not. Gambling relies more so on luck. Investing relies more so on research-backed skills. If you buy an asset and you don't do any type of research, you just go off of what other people are saying, or you like, hey, I know this company. I'm going to put my money into that. That's gambling. But when you actually take time to research, look into what news articles are saying, look into their financial data, look at their history, look at who is operating these assets and what their projected future is, that's investing because you are doing research to mitigate your own risk. Another barrier is people feel that they don't have enough capital to get into investing. And the beautiful thing about investing is that it does not take a lot of capital to get into. But tying into that is that people are so afraid of putting in their hard-earned money and losing it because they made a bad decision, they got scammed, they simply just didn't know what they was doing. And so with the Smart Investors app, we eliminate that barrier altogether by giving you a platform where you can actually get into investing through simulation. You use virtual currency. You don't use real world money. So we eliminated that fear altogether. Another barrier that people have is FOMO. People are afraid that they missed out on making large profits because, case in point, there's an old saying that goes, when someone is talking about an asset that is rising or peaking, it's already too late. You've
Right.
already missed the hype train and whatnot, which in that instance, it may be true, but it's never too late to get into investing. The best time to ever get into investing is always right now. 5 minutes from now, right now, still the best time. 1 hour, still the best time. 1 year, still the best time. You never miss the best window to get into investing. So those are the biggest barriers that a lot of people are facing. And I wanted to create a product that says, hey, let's remove as many of those barriers as possible.
So you alluded a little bit to, people fearing the money. And I think that's a big one, especially in today's economy, right? People are like, hey, I work really hard for this. And that fear that also goes with it, right? I've never done this before. Sitting down and looking at investments is so confusing, I think, for a lot of people because there's terminology and it's kind of like you're jumping into something different. So let's talk a little bit about the app. So tell us kind of walk us through the app that you made.
Okay, so the app that I made is a simulated investing app for stocks, crypto, and Forex. When a user first joins, they go through an onboarding video tutorial that walks them through how to use the apps on a basic level. The first thing users want to do in the app is you want to create your portfolio. You select the asset class that you want to make. Do you want it to be a stock portfolio or a crypto portfolio or Forex? You cannot mix the two because that's going to get complicated and that's not how the real world works. So you select which one you want. You give it your own custom name so you can always go back to it and know which one is which. Then from there, you go to our virtual bank, which is our bread and butter, because in there, we allow you to add as much money as you want. If you want to put $1 billion into your portfolio, put $1 billion. Though we do encourage you to simulate how much money you realistically would be putting in there because again, you're simulating what you would actually do. So once you add your money in there, you have one of two options, which I highly recommend the second option. The first option, you then go to our research tab, you select which asset class you want, and then you search for the asset you want either by its name or by its ticker symbol and then you go to that page. Or the second method, you use our strategies AI, where you click on that and then you select which type of strategy that you want to implement. Do you want to be someone who values growth? Do you want to be someone who values dividend? Do you want to be someone who values, say, environmental support for investing? You select that strategy type, and our app will give you the top 10 best assets that matches that strategy, as well as reasonings for why it gave you those. So you have the option of, hey, I want to go with this. And then if you like it, you just add it to the watch list. So you can just easily go to and access them. But from there, once you click on the asset that you want, you have access to all of its 10 years worth of financial data. You have access to its profile, describing the asset, giving you its background. You have access to 3 months worth of news articles so that you can learn what the public feels about it, what's going on in the world. You have access to which politicians are investing in these assets. And then as well, you have access to our insight module, where when you click on that, it gives you detailed insight into the asset. So you can figure out, okay, is this something that I want to truly invest in based off my characteristics or not? And if it is, you invest in it. So that's a very simple overview of what basic beginners will be experiencing when they join the app.
So, from what I'm hearing, the idea of this is that people kind of are able to sort of play the game, get used to the terminology and what it means without really having skin in the game besides, time. And
Ex
and so obviously there's a point where they're going to want to switch. How long has this app been going? How long have you had it up and running?
so we released this app on New Year's.
Okay.
The goal was to bring in 2026 with the goal of becoming more financially independent and more financially savvy.
Okay. So what is your goal for this? Like how, cuz so somebody comes in, they're like, "Hey, I don't know. I don't know any terminology." They might be listening to this and going, "I'm hearing the words you're saying and I've heard them before, but I'm not really quite too sure what they all mean." What do you hope the end goal is for the users of your app?
Love that. So we do have a dictionary section in the app, and we do have a learning video catalog in the app. So if you don't know any of what is being talked about today, that's okay. The app has the educational material to teach you. As far as my goal, I want my app to be your first stop on improving your financial journey. I want you to download the app, use it, go through all of the learning courses, go through our amazing track system, which we can cover in a little bit, and then I want you to fail a minimum of 1,000 times. And I say that because in my personal experience, failure teaches you more than success. I want you to download the app. I want you to put as much virtual currency as you want into the app. And then I want you to go and I want you to just make as many investments decisions as possible. And I want so many of them to fail because I want you to sit back and think, why did that fail? Where did I go wrong? How did that fail? And I want you to really understand the answers to those questions so you fail less and less each time. And then once you are done and you are ready to move on to actual brokers, hopefully by then you won't be failing, you'll just be winning because you made all the mistakes in the app and you learned from them. So that is the goal.
And I love too that you said like go in, obviously, like you said, you could put $1 billion in there, but really going in with a realistic amount. And I think that this also allows people to, have that not having to deal with that feeling of like, well, all I have is like $100 or $500 because that's all I can spare right now, and not wanting to approach someone and go, hey, I would like to invest. Cause I'm sure a lot of people feel that way, right? Like I have to have thousands upon thousands of dollars to be able to, make a difference or see a difference.
Yes, and that was the thought process behind creating into this because there are so many people who have different circumstances. Right now, you may be able to put in $100, but you may get a bonus or something may happen where you can then put in more money versus someone else who can put in way more than you. It becomes very difficult to how do you limit certain groups? So I said, it's going to be completely up to the individual. We are giving you a safe environment where you can go play around, take it serious, do what you want to do. We're giving you full control of your investing journey and learning, and we're just providing you with all the materials that you need to make it a successful one.
And let's talk a little bit about, I want to go into sort of the back end of you actually doing this. But first, you launched it on New Year's. What has the feedback that you've been getting from people? Was it surprising to you? Was it kind of what you expected?
It was definitely surprising. I did not, well, I did realize how many people would actually enjoy it and take advantage of it, but I did not realize just how many people was just waiting for this tool. Because I started my investing journey like 6 years ago, and this was a tool that I was hoping I could find. I didn't find it. I saw that other people was having similar pain points as me, so I said, you know what, let me go ahead and create this. And as soon as I released it, I just got so much positive feedback. So many people just saying, "Oh my God, this is what I was waiting for. Thank you so much for doing this." They love the app. They love the guys we have inside the app to help navigate and show people how to use the app. They love that there's so many educational videos just easily accessible to them. They don't have to go out and try to figure out what it is that they don't know or try to find certain videos to just go into the app and like, I want to learn about this. And oh my God, it's there. They love how interactive the app is because this is an app that I made for the people and I'm giving the people a chance to add to it. And what I say by that is for users that become premium members, they get to take their investing learning to the next level. And one of those levels is they get to contribute to the app by adding educational material, whether it be a helpful learning video or whether it be helpful learning terms that could assist other investors. And when they add those, everybody on the app has voting power. They can vote whether they agree that this is going to be useful. And if enough people agree to it, it then goes into our database. Or if they say this won't be useful, it gets removed. So, yeah, I want to create something that is for the people that they can use to learn as well as contribute and help other people grow.
Well, and I love that because I think it adds sort of that, that they feel that contribution, right? Like you can try so many times as an entrepreneur in your head to get, into a bunch of people or into a demographic's head, but there's always some things that people are like, yeah, I didn't know this. And then you're like, oh, I didn't know, right? Like it's
Yeah.
because I think that from being in that, even in all of your background of industries, sometimes we get stuck in the speak. We know what it means because we've been around it. And then you speak with somebody and, the eyes glaze over and they're just like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. And part of the reason behind that is also, again, I don't know what it is that you don't know, and people learn different ways. Some people are more visual, some people are more audio, some people are more hands-on. So that's why the biggest learning objective of the app was the community-based one, where I said, you
Mm-hmm.
know what, we made this app to make people investors. Why don't we have people invest in the app? Add your learning style, mentor people, work together. This is a community, so I want y'all to contribute because I can put as much content in this app as possible that makes sense to me, that I like and that I enjoy, but it may not resonate with you. So now I'm giving you the chance to put what resonates with you or other people because I truly want people to learn and grow together. And I felt that was the best way to do it.
Yeah. And I think it's, and I said it before a little bit in the opening that I think it's one of the things that is, financial literacy is like you said, in all of the studies, it's just not there anymore. And, we do have, I know for my son, that was a big thing for him. Mom, where do I go? Like, how do I find this information? Which a lot of it is like, hey, you kind of luck out because your mom has that knowledge. But I know there's a lot of my friends who are like, I don't know. I was never taught this by my parents. Like, I don't even know what they invested in. Like, I don't know. Right. And I think that this is not only an app for a younger generation, but also people who are like, I was never taught this because my parents didn't know. So now I'm, getting a little bit older, getting to the age where I'm like, okay, I need to start kind of thinking about retirement. That age might be coming up. And I love that this app can be used by any age, really.
Yes, and that was the goal because originally the goal was to target younger people and say, hey, start investing now, build your wealth so that later in your years you can enjoy it. But as I entered the industry after graduating with my master's degree and started talking to some of my fellow coworkers, it is so heartbreaking how many people who have been in the workforce for 40 plus years don't know if they can retire.
Yeah.
Or the few who do retire, 3 months later, they come back because they can't afford to stay retired. I talked to one guy and he was on track, he was good, but then his wife got sick and he was like, my medical bills alone is what's keep or her medical bills is what's keeping us from retiring. And I'm like, that is heartbreaking that you did all this work, you followed the rules, and you can't do it. And it's because they mostly relied on their traditional 401k. That's actually was the very first thing my manager told me when I started work. He was like, hey, don't just rely on your 401k. Start investing now. Set up plans because you don't want to be at my age and then wonder how long can I stay retired. So going off that conversation, I said, okay, let's not just focus on the youth. Let's focus on people middle age and older because they also need this. And that was just my millennial mindset was that, okay, older people, they already have this knowledge and wisdom. I don't have to worry about them. But no, a lot of people from across different generations just missed out or had the misfortune of not being properly prepared.
Yeah. Well, and I think it was quite a prevalent thing, right? Like I know I'm, a year away from 50 and like
You
I was
don't
the
look it.
heir. Oh, well, thank you. It was the heir of like real estate was like the big thing, right? Everybody always told you to invest in real estate. And so a lot of people got, kind of stuck in that. Well, I don't have enough to do that and everything. And to me, it's amazing when I talk with people I know and people who are around my age. And you're right. There's a lot of people who are like, I don't know. Like there's no Freedom 55 thing that we grew up hearing a commercial, Freedom 55. And like that was a dream. They're like, yeah, like 70 is my retirement age, which to me, I'm like, I would rather people have something like this that they can use, which is, again, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, so that if you choose to work that late in life, it is a choice, not like you were telling in that story where the guy's like, I don't have any other choice. I have to. I don't want to be here. I'm sure he wants to be at home taking care of his wife, but you're just kind of sort of stuck doing this. And I love that this app gives them a way to sort of dip their toes in, learn a little bit more about it without feeling self-conscious about it, and then able to feel like, they're coming in with some literacy now. They're coming in with some knowledge of how to actually do this and apply it, in real life situations. With concrete evidence, because this is, I'm assuming the app is also using real things that are out there right now and their growth patterns.
Yes, we use actual financial data. We also use actual news article. Everything in the app is 100% real. The only thing that is not real is the money that is used and, of course, the shares you own. Those are all virtual.
Yeah. But that's good because I think that's an important piece, right? I've seen other stuff that has come up, but it's all fictitious companies and, and that sometimes can be a little damaging almost because you're not seeing how it actually works. And sort of seeing that the reality side of, companies because stuff
So I
can
actually
look
want to
interesting.
play off of that.
Okay,
Because what you
absolutely.
said was something that I thought about for this app. In the app, we have, and this is my personal favorite part of the app. I love what I did with this one. It is called Tracks. And the goal is we want to put you on track to become a smart investor.
Okay.
Tracks is our guided hands-on learning assessments that we encourage everyone to take once they've played around with the app a little bit, once they watch the educational materials and interacted with the in-app community. Tracks are broken down into three levels: beginner, intermediate, expert. Beginner and intermediate, they are each track has its own subcategory. Like, say, one track may be beginner dividends portfolio, where each track has a number of milestones, with the last milestone being a capstone quiz to test you on what you learn.
Okay.
What these milestones are is they tell you that when you get a track, it's linked to whatever portfolio you link it to, and it then begins tracking your portfolio metrics. So with the dividend one, it may say, hey, make your portfolio reach a dividend yield of, say, 7%, hold X amount of assets. You want to diversify your portfolio holdings by a certain percentage. It doesn't tell you exactly what to do, but or how to do it, but it guides you on what it is that you have to achieve so that you can continue to build your skills. Now, intermediate level is dependent on you completing a beginner level version of that track. The expert level is where it gets so much fun. And personally, I did my best to make it as hard but fair as possible. Expert level is 100% case studies.
Okay.
The very first one we have in there is something that a lot of people don't remember, but I highly recommend they do research into, because it just blows my mind how much we are still dealing with this 26 years later. And it is survive the dot-com bubble crash.
Oh,
It puts you in a scenario where it says, hey, we're now entering a dot-com bubble crash. You have to create a portfolio that will survive it and keep you going. We also have one where you have to survive the 2008 crash, to survive the COVID crisis incidents. So it goes less from you're now learning this stuff to, hey, we're dropping you in this scenario. Based off your learnings and stuff, utilize your skills and make something that won't get wiped out and will help you going forward. And the reason why I created that is because there will always be another crisis coming, and I want to make sure people are prepared for it. So I'm giving you the three biggest ones that we had in the recent 26 years. So when the next one comes, you'll be like, hey, smart investors helped me for this. I now have a better understanding of what to do. So that is something that I'm really looking forward to users participating in, and also seeing how many can survive them, because I really put my heart and soul to making them difficult but fair.
oh, I love that. And I think it's a good way because like you said, it's preparing them for all these situations that are gonna come up again. Like I think
Exactly.
everybody knows if you've been around long enough, whatever is happening, it's okay. It'll happen again. It's happened before, it'll happen again.
Yes.
So I want to switch a little bit into the entrepreneur side. For you, when you decided, you had it in your head, you were like, okay, I'm inspired to do this. I know what I want to create. What were some of the barriers or some of the temporary roadblocks that you had in
Ooh.
doing this as an entrepreneur?
So the number one barrier that I have that I always try to coach people on is imposter syndrome. There have been so many times where I would just think, dang, do I really have the skill sets to do this? Like, can I really do this? Because this has been a problem that so many people have been facing. Surely by now, someone would have come up with a solution, or maybe they're working on a solution. By the time I get halfway through all this work, or when I'm done, they release theirs and they have more capital and more traction, and I can't compete with that. But I had to remind myself that if that was true, then they would have already done it by now. But the
Hmm.
fact that I'm the one doing it means that I'm the one that's supposed to do it. So to everyone I tell that has imposter syndrome, it's completely normal. I think every entrepreneur goes through that. So you just have to remind yourself that you are doing what you're supposed to do and weather that storm and keep going. The next one was definitely time. Being an employee at the same time while starting your business, working 40 plus hours a week, you have to balance time between working, going to the gym, and trying to have a means of a social life with also being an entrepreneur. So that is also some barriers that I had to learn how to overcome and face. And the next one is I was a team of one, and I really bought into my head the story of, oh, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, they started everything on their own in their garage and look how they turned out. And I was like, you know what? No, that's a quick way to get burnt out. I have gotten burnt out for like a while. Matter of fact, I had to take like a 2 year time off because I just burnt myself out, just power through on everything, not taking breaks. And I was like, you know what? I really want to see this through. I'm gonna have to make some wise decisions. So I had to learn, it's when you feel like you need to stop, take a break, stop. It's gonna still be there when you come back. Stop, enjoy life. And then also outsource it. When you look at the app now, we have such a beautiful user interface. The front end is just so amazing. For context, I am a back end engineer. All my experiences with dealing with stuff in the back end. If you could see the attempt I made at doing a front end, you would not touch that app. And I showed it to my friends. I was like, look, we love you, man, but you won't sell anything with this app looking like this. So I had to take an L and outsource the front end. And when I got back the finished product, I was like, dang, I had no business attempting this.
Well, and I think that's an important, definitely an important lesson for you. But I think, it's something that I've said over and over again. Like, there's nobody who gets big in business who does it by themselves. It doesn't
Exactly.
exist. You might not hear about it, but even like you were saying, there was always somebody that they were, putting these ideas off of, in their garage when they're doing it. And sometimes we just don't see it. And I always say the shortest or the longest way to success is to do it solo.
And a little
It's
bit of fun fact about that whole Bill Gates and Steve Jobs thing. I was told that growing up, and then when I started my own entrepreneur journey, that's when I learned that, yo, they didn't do it all on their own. Like, no, that was an unrealistic expectation to have on someone. So that's what got me out of that little mind hoop.
Yeah. And I think it's quite often we think, there's also the territory that you were like, this is my baby. Like I've created this.
Yes.
I don't want somebody to come in and sort of mess this up. But often, like you said, that's where the burnout comes in. And then you are the one who ends up messing it up.
Yes.
Well, so now I want you to tell and thank you for, being so honest about that, because I think it's important for people, to hear those insights and understand you did not do it by yourself. And that outsourcing, sometimes you need to when you're like, hey, I'm great in the background, but somebody else needs to deal with the front. So I know that there's people who are listening who are going, okay, either I'm ready to start because I'm young and I want to get this going and I don't want to be 70 before I retire. And there's also people around my age who are going, you know what, I never learned about this. Where can they go? Where do they go? Where's the best place for them to discover this app, to learn more about it and see if it's a fit for them?
So they can go to the Google Play Store or the Apple Store and type in Smart Investors, all one word, to download the app. Alternatively, they can go to our website, smartinvestorsapp.com, to find links to our social medias, to find links to the Play Store, and to find links to the Apple Store. Influencers can also find links to join our affiliate program where they can partner with us to incorporate the app into their content and help their audience follow along with them, because that's also something I create in mind. I've seen so many influencers make videos where they talk about these concepts and present it in front of their audience. But for some people who are hands-on and want to follow along, they was missing that component. So I created our affiliate program so that we could bridge that gap and give them a closer connection with their audience. We can also have a program where schools or any organization that's interested in students can buy premium memberships for students and give it to them so they can jump in and they can have full access to the app and take their self from zero to expert level. That's
Love that.
all at smartinvestorsapp.com.
I love that. And I can't wait to hear all of the stories of people who have beat it, because I know there's going to be a lot of people out there just trying to get to that expert one and pass it now. Now it's like a challenge.
It's definitely a challenge. Like I said, I really wanted to make something that was it because I wanted to be in real life. Like sink or swim is extremely difficult because in real life, when these crises happen, we're hit right then and there, and we have to quickly scramble to try to survive it. Whereas with these, because they're case studies, you already have hindsight. So I had to tweak it to make it just as challenging so that it is realistic. And yes, I would love to see how many people can actually complete it. And then also regarding the track system for any of our influencers that join our affiliate program, they have the unique ability to also create their own unique tracks at any level. So I'm also excited to see what influencers will create and what expert level case studies they will make. Hopefully, they also will be fair and not just difficult.
Well, I can't wait to, to definitely dive in more into this and to share it with everybody. So I'm going to put you on the spot for a second here. If there was one thing that you wished going back, now this could either be in regards to the app or in regards to just becoming an entrepreneur and that whole thing, what is one thing that you think, I wish somebody would have told me this?
100%, it is okay to outsource. And I will say that because as an engineer, we are used to being in the back end. When I release my app, I have my whole marketing campaign strategy prepared. I am going to make a virtual avatar. I'm just going to release posts and just let those gravitate towards people. I reached out to social media and PR managers to, help get me started up and running. And I am so glad I did because once I found my perfect PR person, the amount of help and work they put me into, like 3 months ago, I would not be doing this. Like, I would be so terrified to get out here, put myself out there, my face, and just talk to people. Like, that's that was not my lane. But as an entrepreneur, you are going to have to get into the front because it is your business. And especially in this particular sector that I am in, trust is so important. So if I could go back, I would tell myself, hey, start now. Practice your interview skills, practice talking, improve, get over your fear of, or mitigate your fear of being in front of the camera because one, it's a lot of fun. Like, this is actually a lot of fun now that I'm doing it, but it's also going to just help take your business to the next level because since I started doing this, I have been making so many connections that I didn't even know I needed. So,
Yeah.
yeah, if I can go back to the start, I would tell myself, yeah, this part is definitely the most important. The background work, I have experience in that. That wasn't too difficult to me, but the front end work, oh man, that was a whole nother ball game.
Yeah. And I think, we don't talk about it too much. And I speak on a lot of stages, and I've been with, a lot of really big names, and every single one of them is nervous backstage before they go on. Even if it's like, I was with one lady who has literally been speaking on stages for 40 years. And she's like, 40 years and I still get nervous. I need the first laugh. Once I get the first laugh, then like I'm okay. And I was like, that is so funny because we get so worried, like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. And I'm like, they all are. They all are. Like, it's just, you learn to deal with it a little bit easier, right? You learn that
Right.
this is a short-term thing, and you just kind of forge through, but it's still always there. Cause I think just as human beings, we just have that, that natural instinct to kind of be like, ooh, this is a little scary.
And
So
you want to know what's so ironic? When I was in college, I did stand-up comedy all 4 years. So I'm used to being on stage in front of people, and the nerves still don't go away.
yeah. And that's so funny because that's like the hardest stage to stand on, right?
It
Because
is.
you have a lot of critics when you're doing that type of, stage work. So
Yes.
that takes a lot, I got to tell you. So, well, I love this. We're going to have all of the links to where you guys can go to find this app. And I encourage you to definitely go right today and make sure that you download it and just start your journey. As Deon said, like, today is the day. Today is the perfect day. And if you don't get to it to tomorrow, that's okay. Tomorrow is the perfect day, but don't wait longer than that. Because this is something that we just need to practice, and we need to share this with your friends and your family and your kids. This is something that would be a fantastic family thing to actually get together and try this and see what you guys can create together, because today can be the day that you change your life. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And I can't wait to have you on again and see where this was a year from now and how much it's progressed for you.
I look forward to it.
As I said a couple of times in the episode, financial literacy is one of the scariest things to do, because a lot of times we feel like we should know, whether it's us needing the financial literacy or whether we're trying to pass it down to other generations like our kids. If you don't know, you don't know, but that's okay. And that's why I was so excited to have Deon on the show today, to show you that there are apps out there, particularly his, that can help you to gain that information without having imposter syndrome, without feeling like you're asking dumb questions or that you should already know this. And that's why I think things like this are so important. So I will continue to shout it from the rooftops. But this is the perfect thing for you. So if you are somebody who's maybe dabbled a little bit into investments, maybe you have no investments at all, and you're just hoping that whatever retirement fund you have is going to suit you, or whether even you're giving your money to a broker or an investment agent who is doing it for you, this is still your opportunity to gain more knowledge and more information, and maybe potentially dip your toe into something that might be a little bit out of your comfort zone and just see how it works and then apply it to your real world investing. I can't wait to see what you guys do with it. I know I myself am going to be, I already have the app downloaded, but I'm going to be taking a look at it too, because I think there's always something for us to learn. There's always new information out there. So let's do it together and make sure that you're sharing it. Tag this episode, share the app. Let's get the word out there. And I can't wait to see what you create. And make sure that while you are creating this new life and this new portfolio, you make sure you take time to have fun. Because as I always say, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?